Alright, in this video we're going to create another template sketch, and this one's going to have your regulations on it. So you've got one for your block and another one for your regulations. Now, I guess you could do them in the same sketch, but I like to sort of do them separately and be able to turn them on and off. So you're going to create another sketch, and it's going to be on top of the other one. The other one should grey out a little bit like that. And there's going to be a number of regulations we're going to put onto this sketch. So I'll just flick back across to the regulations. Now, just shoot down to the files. Now, the first one we're looking at is the cylinder housing. So there's a number of rules around it, and one is it has to have 3 mil chamber thickness. So all the way around this chamber where this yellow line is, it has to be 3 mil thick. So we're going to create that line, so we make sure that our body sort of is always going to be outside of that line. So that's going to be included in our design. So we'll flick back across. Now, because these lines here are in the sketch below, they're not actually included in this sketch. So you can either redraw them, but we might as well just use, under create, you can use project. We hit the P key on the keyboard, and we're just going to project 3 lines in. Don't do this end one, that's fine. And they'll come in as purple lines onto your current sketch. And then from there we can use the offset tool. Offset, click on all 3 of them. I'm going to offset that by 3 millimeters. So now when I start drawing the body in the next stage, I know that I have to include this part, because this part has to be, like, for that 3 mil wall thickness, this has to be included in our design. So that's the actual wall thickness minimum, obviously. Next one I'm going to do is the road track. So I'm just going to grab the line tool and just drop it in. Again, you want to make sure it's level, so it's got this little icon here that represents that it's a horizontal or a vertical line. In this case, it's horizontal. And I haven't placed it anywhere at this point. And we'll just check out the rules for the height of the cylinder chamber. So just here, height from the track surface. So 22 mil for cadet class or 20 mil for development and professional classes. Now, most of you guys are doing first year F1 in schools. You can be working towards these cadet class regulations. Now, when it says 22 mil, that is the minimum. So if I build this car to absolute perfection, I can just type in 22 mil, but it's unlikely that's going to happen. So you always want to give yourself some tolerance, a little bit of extra room, just in case, you sand off a little bit too much stuff or whatever, and it goes a little bit too low. So the distance from, we'll use the sketch dimension tool. This line here, so the actual bottom of the cylinder hole, so not the wall thickness, the bottom of the hole to the track. So as I said, minimum is 22 or 20 for competition categories. I always go 23. Gives you a couple of other options as well. It means you can also bring your wheels underneath your cylinder chamber as well. So doing 23 gives you a bit more options later on. Okay, overall length of the car. Now, for this example, this is the maximum length you can build your car, so up to this line here, because we made the block slightly smaller, so 210. The other dimension, so the shortest the car can be, is 170. So we'll go to line. I'll put this one on the construction line. This one's not critical about how tall it is or placement, so just drag one in there, and then we'll use a dimension tool again. So from the origin forwards, 170. So So I know that the front of my car has to sort of be between these two lines. Can't be behind this line effectively. All right, so we've got our length, we've got our cylinder chamber, and we've got the track itself. And the last thing we'll draw into this one is our wheels. There's a little bit to the wheels in terms of where you place them. So first up, we're just going to grab the circle tool and drop in. Oh, I'll just turn off my construction line tool. 33 mil. So that's how big the wheel is, 33 millimeters. And if I just drop it in randomly like I have, I can move it around. And I'm just going to use the constraints, this tangent tool here. So I'm going to click on the wheel, click on the track because it's going to be touching the track, hopefully. And then it won't leave that line basically. So that's the wheel itself. So I might as well draw another one, 33, tangent, that wheel is touching the road. Done. Now the placement of these is pretty important and it is worthwhile figuring it out sooner rather than later. What we're going to be doing is some testing that might inform you where you should place your wheels. So your testing should inform you about where they can be or where they will be placed. But there's a few regulations around minimums and maximums, I guess, in terms of making this work. So we're going to go to dimension and go from that wheel to the back of the car. We'll check out our regulations on this. The chord restriction is 15 mil. So front and rear chord, so the width of the wing is 15 millimeters. And don't forget you also have that exclusion zone, of 1 mil front and back, as well as the clear airspace around your wings. So that's going to sort of restrict where your wheels can go. So this is 33 diameter. 16.5 is going to be the radius. So the distance from the center of the wheel to the edge of the wheel is going to be 16.5. So I have to have at least +1 exclusion zone on the rear, plus the thickness of the chord is 15 mil. So that 32.5 is as far back as I can have my rear wheel. So that allows for 15 mil exactly on my chord, and then a 1 mil exclusion zone before, so I can remain compliant. So that is the very furthest back I can have my wheel legally. It's unlikely I want to have it there. Usually I put it sort of in the region of 50 to 60 mil. But as I said, I want your testing to sort of inform you where you're going to place that wheel. And then there's also a sort of a regulation about how far these wheels can be apart. So if I do a distance between these two wheels, and we'll scoot back across. So again, these regulations, so it has to be at least 15 mil, plus a 3 mil gap here, and a 45-degree angle. And then the side pods have to be, this sticker is 30 mil, so it has to be at least 30 mil across. Don't forget this wedge as well. So it's not an exact, it's not an exact science until you've designed your actual side pods and that sort of stuff. But we can expect 15 plus 30, probably plus another 20, plus another 3 as the minimum distance between the very back edge of the front wheel and the very front edge of the back wheel to the very back edge of the front wheel. Okay. So that would mean 33, because we're measuring from the center of each of these wheels. So 16.5 plus 16.5, 33 mil, plus our exclusion zone at the front, so 15mm behind the front wheel, plus 50 for our side pod, plus 3. So 100mm, there or thereabouts would be as close as I can put them together, really. Usually aim for around about 100, 110 sort of ballpark. Now, as I said, the placement of those should be informed by your design, your testing. Some of other things that need to go into this is a 3mm, 6mm hole. So this is the axle hole that you will be attached to. And also don't forget, axle hole, because there's a hole there has to be at least 3mm of material around this hole. So again, we'll get an offset tool, add 3mm to that. So this part here has to be included into your design. So do it on both the front and the back. So that's the benefit of dropping your track clearance, creating this 23mm track clearance. It means that this wheel can come underneath your cylinder chamber. If you've got this down at 20, they're going to run into each other and you're going to have a hole running through your cylinder chamber. So as I said, these numbers here are going to be affected by your testing, and your testing should inform where your wheel placement is. But this is your regulations template, I guess. So we're going to call this sketch regulations. We'll actually use this sketch a bit later on for creating our axle holes because we've already drawn them in here. But that's all we'll use it for. It will, for the most part, remain as sort of a reference for us designing the rest of our car. Next video, I'm going to get into how to create your body.